Hello, my beautiful angel starseeds and dreamers. Welcome back. My name is Violetta. This is a timeless channeled message for you. Yes, you. If it resonates, take it. If it doesn't, leave it. And this is for all signs. Listen, this has been a really, really hard time. Everything has been going meh. And you know why. It's because you're solidifying, you're embodying, you're learning to act the way you are now. Your new self is being itself and finalizing itself, which means a lot of tests and challenges. You knew this. But even so, you did not expect how much it would be, how crazy it would get. And there was a point in time that you were a little bit lost. You're like, I can't take this anymore. But it's okay, because I hear you passed the worst. The worst is over. This has been about seeing your worth, acting like your worth, choosing things that are deserving of you rather than settling for less, even if it's scary, because you know there's no guarantee you'll find what you're looking for. But you've been really good. I might sound and look a little bit tired because it was a week or two of non-stop. And I imagine it was the same for you. All of those old fears, mindsets, doubts resurfacing to see if you're really done with them. To see if you're really ready for this next stage. And there were times when you were like, oh, I can't do this anymore. But you did it. You kept trying, you kept going, you kept deciding to be you and to do what you must. Well done. And so you reached a point that's a little bit less crazy, more calm. It's not about things that are happening or not happening around you. It's more about your inner peace. You slayed those demons again. And now I'm hearing you're ready for the next stage, which is going to be interesting. There's going to be more learning, but probably more pleasurable than you think. Like, hear me out. This last tiny period of time was heavy and difficult and crazy and really scary at times. But the next stage is going to be still challenging, but more exciting, more adventurous, if that makes sense. Because the new timeline is not one of surviving, it's of thriving. You have graduated to this next stage where you can enter only because you have withstood the challenges and tests with flying colors, even though there were moments of despair. But there had to be those moments for you to appreciate now. Spirit is very proud. There were also some small messages that I'm gonna mention. Spirit says to acknowledge all that invisible work. I know you have been, but truly look at it and realize that nobody even knows you've done it. And that's okay. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. You can just look at it yourself and say, wow, I did really good. And be proud of yourself, because you deserve to be proud. The thing is, nobody will ever know or see what you've been through. All those nights of crying, all those days of trying, all those years of surviving, all those shadows that you obliterated, I'm hearing. all those fears you faced, but you didn't stop. People think everything is easy for you, that you're just lucky, but actually you fought and fought and fought and fought. And here you are, victor, a victor. So don't for a minute think that just because it's invisible, it's not worth acknowledging, because it's just the opposite. It deserves to be acknowledged, it deserves to be appreciated, it deserves to be celebrated. Because you did the impossible, my friend. You faced all those shadows and fears, and you said no more, no more. Thank you, but no more. You chose another way. And most people, they cower in the shadows when they see that. They're afraid, they're too afraid to look in the mirror, but you look and you look and you look. And you dive deep and you dig deep and you work at it tirelessly. Even when you're super tired and exhausted, which you were in the recent past, you still get up in the morning, you still work, you still get out, you still meet with people, you still fight for your right to choose better, to be better. And I'm so proud of you. You've done an amazing job. You couldn't do it any better. So please don't blame yourself or doubt yourself, because you've done amazingly. There's nothing else you could have done. There's nothing better you could have done. You did perfectly. So maybe take a break a little bit, like a little bit, just balance your work with relaxation, meditation, nature. For example, for every few hours that I'm like, I have to do all the things, I add a few hours of, okay, let's lie down on the beach, read a book, and just relax, you know? Just do something that you love for a few hours or for a few minutes even, just to recharge, relax. Had a couple of strange messages, so I'm just going to give you them. This was a dream, something poisons your skin and your hands. You think it's one thing, but someone says it's something else. Some confirmation. Something's trying to convince you that something is what they say it is, but actually you know better. Or conversely, you're trying to convince yourself that something is poisoning you, but it's actually something else. So there's a misconception about what's actually making you sick, or making you distracted, or making you scattered, or making you unhappy, something like that. But it's not like this big problem, because you've overcome those challenges. Is just about a misconception between what you see and what another person sees as the problem. Okay, you see it as one, another person see it as another. And there was another message of, I've had enough, and the other person saying, I've had enough too. So you might be at odds with somebody, you don't see things the same way, and so you're tired of each other, which is fair enough. It's just really time for thriving, not surviving anymore. You know, this last tiny period of time when you were facing burnout, you were facing all of yourself, all of your old fears and doubts, they had to resurface for you to deal with them and to diminish them, transmute them into the proper energy, the right energy for you to be in alignment once more. And this had to happen this way, because you were pushed to the brink of your abilities. And that was exactly how it should have happened, because Spirit knows if you're not pushed, sometimes you glide, you know, or go around things, which is totally human and understandable. But yeah, remember that big pause before that, that big break, that big stagnancy? That was just preparing you for this surge of activity. And the surge of activity was this insane period of tests and challenges that you had to overcome. And now I'm hearing there's going to be even more activity, but this time it's not going to be so heavy. It's going to be light and fun. But you're still going to be learning, and you're still going to be becoming. You're becoming all of yourself, not just parts of yourself, your full self. During this time, there's another person who's becoming their full self, and you're not allowed to intersect at the moment because you're still becoming your full selves. Once this process is more finalized, more stable, more solid, once you're both a little bit more solid, then you can meet again. What else? Yeah, it's going to be a very different period of time. You're going to be really appreciative of where you are. You are very appreciative of where you are because you've been through hell and back for the past years, months, weeks. Different stages of different battles, right? Different layers, different levels mastered. You fought to get here, and you did. Congratulations. I would say you graduated, but it's not about graduating, it's about the next level, right? You reached the next level. And you can tell you have by the supreme calm inside of you that is not dependent on outside influences. So for example, a week ago, something would happen and you'd be like, okay, I can do this, a little bit stressed, but determined. And some days you were just lying in bed and, oh, what's the point? I'm tired. Other days you were like, la, 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 I can do this. The whole roller coaster, right? But now I'm hearing you've reached that calm, You had to go through the turbulence of the storm, of the water, of the storm, to be able to appreciate the calmer waters. There's still going to be ups and downs, but you appreciate this new calm that's inner calm, inner peace. Because this whole time, Spirit was teaching you to preserve it. Do you remember I gave you this one message about, can you be the eye of the storm? Can you be calm when everything goes bang? I gave you this message when everything was starting. And when I was going through it, I was like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can't do this. This kind of thing, like you're really trying, but it's too much, and it's okay. You're human. It's okay to get overwhelmed. But then you're going back to it. You're readjusting, you're going back to it. And finally, after this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you finally manage to sustain it, the inner calm. So if tomorrow something threatens to decenter you again, you're going to be like, I can do this. I've done this 100 times. I can be stable. I can be the eye of the storm. And you're going to be okay because you know everything's going to be okay. Because it has been. It always has been okay. Aww. I love it for you. I honestly am so proud of you because I know what kind of period you just went through. I couldn't even film for a few days, you guys. I couldn't even film for a few days. This is the first I filmed after the whole madness. And I fully understand you. I fully see you. And I appreciate how hard you fought, how tenacious, resistant, strong you are. I'm so proud of you. Spirit is so proud of you, and I know I'm getting emotional because it took so much out of you. You had to face so many fears, so many shadows. You had to face so much. But you resurfaced. You resurfaced in the light. You're in the light again. And you're calm water. I'm so happy for you. Keep going, because this is supposed to be a roller coaster. You're supposed to misstep and then find your way again. That's, you're understanding, that was the last message. You're understanding the process better. You're seeing the steps more clearly, and you're understanding which follows, what happens after what or before what. You know what I mean? Like, you're starting to see the pattern, because you've always seen patterns, but you're starting to see the clear pattern in the steps that you're going through in your healing journey. And you're so excited because now you can anticipate and be like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. I know what's coming. I'm ready. Not in a literal, I know exactly what's going to happen, but I know which phase of the process this is. Sorry, there's a little bit of a lag. Or maybe not. I don't know. It's like there's not going to be any more stagnancy, I'm hearing. From now on, you're just going forward at an accelerated pace, which is why you needed to learn how to still yourself in the storm, because there's going to be a storm, a fun storm this time, not a, heavy one. But listen, it's going to be a fun storm with all kinds of things. Obviously, it's not just going to be fun. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be conflict. But listen, whatever there is, you're ready. You might not think you're ready, but you are ready to face it. And you're definitely ready to be still in it, because you've done this again and again and again and again and again. You've mastered this. And yeah, sure, maybe you get out of balance a little bit again, but next time it's going to be less and less and less and less until you do master it. So don't worry. You're starting to have supreme faith in yourself, in your own capabilities, in your own potential, and most importantly, in your own ability to not just survive this journey, but to ace it. You know what I mean? Like, you're seeing how you're doing and you're like, whoa, I'm so good at it. You know what? I'm going to ace this. I'm going to keep acing this. And I love this kind of attitude, because it's true. You just never saw it again. You were worried at times when you were pushed to your limit, but you needn't have worried. You didn't have to worry. And I think going forward, you might not ever worry again, because you've seen enough, you've learned enough about yourself and the journey. And it's clear that everything's going to be okay. Finally. The doubts are dispersing. You even recently had doubts about, okay, what I'm feeling, or is what I'm going through like legit? Am I making things up in my head? But I think enough has happened to prove to you, actually prove to you. I'm not talking about riches raining on you or the perfect soulmate coming. No. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about the process. You've had proof, literal proof inside of you, in the mirror, in your body even, that this works, that this is how it works, and you're doing great. And now that you've had this proof that it works, that you've been through the hardest parts, and you know how it works, like the mechanics of it, and now that you know how it works, and you've seen the proof of it working, you're finally like, you know what, I'm not making this up. I'm not just making things up to talk on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. I'm not brainwashing myself. because I've felt this in my body, in my mind. I have felt this and I have lived this, and I'm living proof that this works. You're acting differently, you're speaking differently, you're moving differently, you see yourself differently, you feel yourself differently. You're more confident than ever, you're more powerful than ever, you're more stable than ever, and I keep saying that, but you just keep going up. Even if there's a little step back, it doesn't matter. It's not going to be a few steps back, it's just going to be one step back and then go back to the program, you know, the regular program. You know what you're doing. And I think you now know that you know what you're doing. And other people can see that you know what you're doing. Because there's results. There's results. In your life, in yourself. There's proof, finally. And there's going to be more proof, Spirit says. So, thank you for sharing this amazing energy with me, for being on this supremely difficult but fulfilling journey with me. And I can't wait to see you again. I'm so proud of you. I love you so much, and thank you for all the subscribes and likes and comments, because they really help my channel, my tiny channel. And this is my dream, to one day be able to reach more people. Not because of growing something, but because I believe we're so many on this journey that I would love to connect to more of you. But for now, maybe we're just 10 or 20 or 30 or 100. Who cares how many? I'm just happy to be able to help if I can, you know? And if it resonates, let me know in the comments, because I truly feel like it does, even partly. And if it doesn't, then just, I'm not the reader for you, you know? That's fine. But if you're still here, I so appreciate you. Part of my soul family, and you're amazing. Okay, thank you again, and I'll see you next time.